PGA Nation, we are back. We are back with a fun week at the Travelers. Coming off a hot U.S. Open. Nothing is hotter right now than golf. Golf is, listen, as much as people hate LIV, it's newsworthy. People are talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's annoying, but it's I think it's good for the sport. It's causing a lot of attention, which is not always a bad thing. I don't think, and I mean this in a nice way, I like Brooks. I really do. I don't think many people are going to miss him, to be honest with you. I just don't. He doesn't even show up to the non-majors half the time anyway. It's just like his person's there, but not really. So good riddance to Brooks. We'll still see at the majors, which is all he really matters at in the most part anyway. But before we kind of dive into that, big congratulations to Sia and the audience winning the draft last week. And what was a fun tournament to watch, a tough one from a DFS standpoint. Sia, tell us, how'd you guys do it?
Well, it was all me. And I don't think the audience made a single pick. I orchestrated everything like I always do. When we win and when we lose, it's usually somebody else's fault. No, truth be told, I didn't even like the team that the audience drafted. So like that tells you, by the way, how I did in DFS last week. If you want to know the truth. Good job by the audience. The audience is starting to catch some fire here. Yeah. Ever since I gave them bulletin board material like 6 or 7 weeks ago, where I was like, yeah, audience team, like not so much. Like they've gone on a nice little run here. And for the record, Joel, I do think you're right that this is ultimately going to be good for golf, good for the PGA Tour, good for golfers as well. Listen, competition breeds optimization. I mean, it's true in literally every facet of life. And that's why we have like antitrust laws and things of that nature, because we want competition. We want the consumer to get the best product. And ultimately, when it comes to the PGA Tour, I think that's what they're going to get, or at least give to the consumer. So short term, I know this looks like it's dark and, oh, this player's moving and this player's moving. And I'm sure there'll be other big names. But at the end of the day, what we get to watch and what the players get to receive financially and otherwise, I think is going to be good across the board.
I totally agree. I mean, listen, I'm an optimist. I try to find the best in it. There is a lot of good to this LIV. I mean, if you want to find the good for you personally, you can. Yeah, there's obviously bad people running it, and there's a lot of negative around the tour. Totally agree with that. But if you only want to look at the negatives, you can. If you want to find some positive in it, there's a way to do so. Spence, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Another second place finish for me. I think that might be 3 or 4 in a row at this point. Controversial Cameron Young hole-in-one helped the audience a little bit.
Yes.
A couple bad breaks for me in the lineups, but I keep track of all the point totals, and the audience is just skyrocketing up the points like for the season-long standings. They're starting to make a run at this.
Wow. And the audience has been hot, so keep it up. The streaks, that's how this game runs, and right now you guys are on a hot one, so we'll see if you're able to maintain that momentum this week. We've brought in a ringer, though. If you haven't noticed, special guest on the show, Scotty Holdridge. Thanks for joining us tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a slow day on golf Twitter, but let's see what we got here. No, this is awesome. Fans of all of you, so super pumped to be here, and I'm not going to miss Brooks. I'm not going to miss him. Worst person I've ever served as a bartender, Brooks Koepka.
Oh, get out of here. Story time. Let's go.
It's bad. Like, we might have to take it off air. Like, it was so bad. It was the 2015 match play at Harding Park. And by the way, Billy Foster is the GOAT. He was like the coolest guy ever. Brooks Koepka, not even close. Worst person I've ever served.
Wow. That's a big statement, because bartenders usually you get some bad customers. Like, for you to like take it to that level, like, clearly it was an issue. Wow, that's crazy.
And my opinions are my own. This is but yeah, garbage mammal. Just
He does seem like he's probably very full of himself. That I could see that for sure.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out.
Scotty, real quick point on that, because I was always, when it was like Brooks v. Bryson, I was always team Brooks, because I think Bryson is like the ultimate douche. But I like clearly at this point, and this has nothing to do with LIV, like I think like it's getting closer. But I'm curious, where were you on that? Were you on team Bryson because of your experience with Brooks?
No, I think there's different kinds of douche. Like, I'm sure I'm someone's version of a douchebag. You know what I mean? Like,
Me too. Hand up.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? We're smart and attractive, good guys. So
Right.
everyone hates us. No, I make minimum wage. Let's be real. Yeah, I was just both. I couldn't stand either of them. But I mean, it's also like, it's been, especially lately, it's like, is there anyone to root for anymore in golf? Like, this is brutal. Like, read the room, guys. Like, oh, so bad. But
It is sad that they do like the match with the Capital One events with more celebrities than golfers, right? It's like, people want to watch golf, but they're not looking to watch the
Capital One card. Like, why am I not? This is ridiculous.
Oh, I love it. Well, I appreciate the story. Interesting. We learned a little bit more about Brooks today. But today we have a lot of content coming your way. We are going to take down this Travelers Championship. Before we get into the draft, Spencer, can you give us a course breakdown?
Yeah, TPC River Highlands was initially built in 1928 by Robert Ross, but was redesigned twice in the 1980s by Pete Dye and Bobby Weed. The Dye and TPC narratives are always an interesting one to handicap because of the rollover production they present from a statistical perspective. And we see that with the track ranking inside the top 10 in terms of predictability when running it against all other courses that will be used in action in 2022. On the surface, the 6,841-yard measurement and smaller than average green should start to highlight a property that will reward short to mid-iron proximity. While there is some truth to that answer, there's also this sketchy production breakdown that equally shifts the data into multiple areas. Players that are short off the tee have found success. Bombers like Dustin Johnson and Bubba Watson have won this tournament. The mid-iron play that I just mentioned does matter. There's good putting on POA plus bent grass greens that has been important. And, all of that should start getting you this idea that the track provides a mixed bag of ways to get the job done. And unfortunately, that's never good when trying to put together a model. I prefer venues that allow the removal of player types so we aren't left with such a hodgepodge and random expectation. But I decided to build my model in a very straightforward sense to try to take the advantage of not only the predictability that this venue has provided, but also the underlying factors that we know are highly predictive from similar tests. You can hear the entire answer if you listen to my Better Golf podcast that I do with Nick Bretwish. But how someone has gained shots on short courses, Pete Dye tracks, and TPC properties was very important to me here, probably more so than it's ever been before. I'm trying to find a blueprint for sustained success on these easily predictive courses that are always yielding the same leaderboards year after year. To me, that's going to be much more impactful when the statistical metrics are fighting against us.
Whew.
Right?
Listen to that back.
God.
This week, I think, is a really important week for course history. Just trying to gain an edge, understand this field a little bit, understand who you want to be targeting. It's a very unique layout and course, so you are going to want to kind of digest some of that before you make some of your picks for the week. Now, before we dive into the draft, Scotty, how comfortable are you with the rules?
With the what?
The rules.
So.
Okay, I'll give you a quick overview. Give you
I'm a guest.
And for any new fans or any new guests of the audience, you guys are a part of the draft. So I'm going to explain how it works. We're going to do a snake draft. Works like a fantasy football draft. It goes 1 through 4 and then 4 to 1. Scotty, lucky enough for you because Sia's and the audience won. Sia picked the order. You're going to be drafting first tonight, followed by me, Spencer, and then Sia and the audience will get the last spot where they loop around for 2 in a row. You are drafting a real DraftKings lineup, so you have to stay within your $50,000 salary. So you can't just take all the top of the leaderboard. You have to draft strategically to make sure that you can get 6 golfers within the salary cap for your team. That's basically the nuts and bolts of it. For those people on the audience who are participating in the chat, we love the participation. You guys really do make our show. While we're at it, feel free to hit the like button, give us a follow. It goes a long way. With that being said, be careful because while we love your speed and timeliness, if you put something in the chat, everyone can see it. And if people want to take picks, I don't think people will steal picks, but if people wanted somebody and you put them in the chat, then you want to blame them for stealing your pick. So just don't put it in until it's your turn. You don't have to worry about it. So with all that being said, Scotty, with the very first pick in the Travelers draft,
Kevin. No, I'm joking. I'm gonna go low first, and I'm gonna go with Sepp Straka.
Wow.
See what you guys are doing. He destroyed me last week. But I like him coming back. I think he top 10 last year.
10th.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's missed a couple cuts. I think that'll keep people off him. He hasn't played very well since his win this year. And I think in that range, everyone's going to go to Adam Long. He seems to be the play. So I'm going Sepp right out the gate.
So I'm going to go ahead right away and dissect that pick. So my first thing I'll say, I'll give you all the reasons why I like it. I love starting with value. And you start off with value in your first pick, making sure you get your right pick. Absolutely love that. I think that's the right strategy. With your first pick in the draft, I think he does a great job. My only critique to it is he's so low percent owned. There's probably a good chance you would have got him with your next pick or the pick after. But you never know. If that's your guy, then you got to go get your guy.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Joe. Sepp Straka is one of those like hit or miss. I feel like he's a great GPP pick regardless because he can absolutely flash. He was 10th here last year, and he was 4th on approach here last year. And I'm certainly overweighting approach relative to other tournaments. Now, if you look at his approach as of late, it's not great. But Scotty's built that into his analysis here. We know he can pop. So I don't have a problem with the pick. I think there's a lot of guys in that 7K, 7,100 range that people, and I think Adam Long's one of them, but I think there's like a handful of those guys that people are going to go to this week to sort of like finish out their roster.
Yeah, I'm demoralized that Scott took Sepp Straka. I think he's one of the better GPP plays on the board. I really like it. Like he's in my player pool. He was somebody that I probably wanted to put in this lineup that I'm going to make. So it's very unfortunate for me that he's the very first player off the board. I like the pick a lot.
Yes. Nice pick, Scott. All right. Now the pressure's on me, and I actually wasn't prepared for this pick, but there's 3 guys I have in mind, and I'm going to go. Listen, it's funny, and this is not planned. It is very coincidental. It does tend to be that I take like the same 2 or 3 guys first in every draft. I guess it's just the guys who I like are the guys who I like, so I'm going to stick with that trend, and I'm going to go ahead and take Mito Pereira. I probably would have liked him a little bit cheaper, but I think his skill set right now is playing as a top 20 golfer in the world, and I think I'm getting him at a bit of a discount for how well he's playing. So I'm going to start there as a kind of a discount pick, value pick, even though it's 8,700, but I like him in this range.
I would have been more concerned if you took Paul Casey in this tournament.
Me and Paul Casey are not in good terms yet, so we're going to have to wait a little while for that.
I think Mito is an interesting pick in the sense that I think you could take a lot of the guys in the upper 8K range and just melt them right into the 9K range because you got to slot somebody somewhere. And there's guys, especially I think like 8,500 up in that range, where if you had them at like a flat 9K or 9,100, like somewhere where like Harold Varner is, for example, I don't think anybody would like look at that and be like, oh, they're overpriced. So I do think you're getting some value out of Mito at 8,700.
All right, guys, I will make the next pick here. This is very simple for me. I think everybody, well, maybe not everybody knows exactly where I'm going, but I'm going to take Webb Simpson at 8,500.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Simpson is the second best player in the field when we combine short courses, Pete Dye tracks, and TPC properties into one strokes gain metric. There's one player above him. I'm going to remove who that person is for this moment just to not give it away. The accuracy is elite. The birdie or better at these specific courses has him inside the top 10 in weighted tee to green at shorter courses. And he is inside the top 5 of my model for upside.
Yeah, I love Webb Simpson this week. I played him last week. It didn't work out, but that doesn't mean I'm not going right back to him this week. He's probably a bit of a better course fit. He is kind of doing a little bit better on approach as of late. The game does seem to be getting back together, like I talked about last week with him kind of shaking off some rust and injuries from the year prior. So I was hoping we'd get Webb. I don't know if the audience was going to go for him or not. But by the way, audience, and Scott, it sounds like you wanted Webb too. Did you like Webb too this week?
Yeah, I think that's a great play. I played him a lot. Last week as well. I was on him.
Yeah, and he barely missed the cut. It happens. It's the U.S. Open. But I do want to say to the audience, like I did pick the order. We could have taken the 1 pick, but honestly, we've been on such a run that I didn't feel good about taking the one pick and just demoralizing the rest of the field here. So that's why we went forward. It's time to nominate. Who do we got? And some nominations coming in already. Let's see. All right. So we don't have any second. Oh, yeah, we do. No, we don't. We have 4 people that are nominated so far, but no seconds. So we got to come. Hey, what's up, Courtney? Courtney joins the chat. We got Ivan in here. Brent, David, of course, one of our writers is in here. I might have said Brian already. Jesse is in here. A lot of guys in here, and girls perhaps. So thanks for joining us. David is in here. All right. So it looks like TPC Lee is the play. So we need to nominate a second guy. So come in here. Oh, we got 2 guys already. Shoot, one of the guys. Okay. So it's going to be Sam Burns and KH Lee appears to be the 2 audience picks. I would have gone somewhere else with that second pick, but that's just me. What do we think about Burns? Joel, go ahead.
I'll say this about Burns. I think I was originally scared off at that price tag at 10-4. It just seemed high to me. But the more I think about it, the more that's how he's playing. I mean, he's been playing great. I mean, and more realistically, that's probably the appropriate pricing. And I'm looking usually to play him at a discount. And it's not a discount, but I do think it's he could easily win this tournament. So I don't think it's necessarily should scare you off.
Fair enough.
The only problem I have with Sam Burns that I'll throw out there, and he was my one and done pick last week for the US Open. I'm not so sure I've ever seen somebody play so poorly before while still competing on the first page of the leaderboard. He was draining 25-foot par putts over the first 3 days every single time he got himself into trouble. Like, he legitimately could have missed the cut. So that's the only one concern I have. But, good course history here. This might be a better venue for him. And the form other than that one result has been really good.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we are Spencer. It's on you, actually.
I cannot believe you guys are going to let me do this right now. So, the second best player in the world, Webb Simpson. Best player in the entire world, Jason Day. $8,100. 3 top 12 finishes at this property. I mean, this is like cheating, right? I get to put Webb and Jason Day into a lineup together, and I'm not actually getting punished to do so. This is incredible.
Yeah, I figured Day might be coming off the board soon there.
I wanted to get invited back, so I said I can't touch Day.
I would have walked off the set. This would have been terrible.
Ended our friendship, yeah.
That's great.
I love it. All right. I'm stuck between 2 guys, and I'm going to start with Brandon Steele at 7,700. Mm-hmm. I like the way he's playing. Brandon Steele is a guy that you got to find on a hot streak, right? He can miss 7-8 cuts in a row, but when he's had something, when he's on a hot streak, he tends to play well. Now we know it's the course he like. In his last 5 tries, he has a tied T14, 21, and T6. In his last 2 outings on the tour, he has 2 top 10. So he's playing well right now. He likes this course. I think we can find something in him this week at under 8K.
Yeah, and one thing to note about Steele, so he actually missed the cut here last year, but he was 7th in the field tee to green. He missed the putt because he lost almost 6 strokes putting, which is pretty unusual because if you go back 4 years for Brandon Steele, the other 3 years, listen, he lost 6 last year. The other 3 years he gained with the putter, including gaining over 9 strokes putting in 2020. So this is a guy who can pop with the putter at this specific venue. I mean, the putter hasn't been great to him as of late, but he can pop with the putter at this specific venue, and tee to green, he's been great here. So he's like a pretty sneaky play because I get the feeling, and Spencer, maybe you could tell us the projected ownership on Brendan Steele, but I have a feeling people are going to dance around Brendan Steele, but they're not going to click the button at 7,700 on Brendan Steele. Am I wrong?
Kind of. It remains to be seen at this moment. Right now, we're looking at about 14%, which is the 8th highest owned player on the board. I do like Brendan Steele, though. Anytime you get these courses where he can use that driver as an advantage, I think it's a really good setup for him.
And Jesse with the reminder. So we're on Scotty for back-to-back picks, but Jesse with the reminder, thank you. Smash the like button. Tell your friends, smash the like button, retweet, do what you got to do. We want as many people in the audience as possible. And let's see, we got David chiming in here. I have Steele on my betting card this week at 80-1. Do I have him on mine? I don't think so. Steele top 40 looks good according to David. That makes sense too. All right, Scotty, what do we got?
So I'm going to keep it going low to start off. The the card, I'm going Tom Hoagie, who's 7,400, has missed 3 cuts in a row. I think he's going to be low owned. I think a lot of the Hughes, List, Pan, Tringali, people are going to go there. Maybe Davis too. I think, I'm putting him in my pool for sure. And I mean, he's just great at his proximity numbers are great. He's a decent scrambler, pretty accurate off the tee. And I think it's, I don't know. I think it's going to be an undervalued play here.
Yeah, I like Hoagie and Straka together. Those are 2 of the higher leverage, or I should say pivot type plays that you can find on the board. And there's 2 specific proximity ranges, whether that be from 100 to 125 or 175 to 200, that Hoagie's the number 1 player in the field at those specific ranges.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And I agree that the leverage is going to be there with both of those guys. So it's a great tournament lineup already.
Stop it. See.
I have to say that.
I know.
All right, Scotty, you got one more. What you got?
Now I'm going the other way, and I'm going Scotty Chef, Year of the Scotty. I just think he's a different kind of player than a lot of people that he just wants to go out and win, and he's on an absolute heater. And some of his quotes recently too, he's like, I just want to go out and win tournaments. And I don't know. I like it, and I'm staying on it till he kicks me off pretty much. And kind of a theme here of good ball strikers and just good all around game. But I just think, why not?
Yeah, I mean, he rates out so well on so many things. Like if I go back 36 rounds, he's number 1 on approach, number 1 par 4, 400 to 450 yards, which is going to be prevalent here. Number 1 in DK points, number 1 in birdies, which those last 2 are pretty highly correlated, and top 10 pretty much everywhere else. So, I mean, it's hard to if anybody was like, Scotty's a bad pick, it's impossible. It's actually impossible to say that at this point.
It's kind of sorry, Scott, you can go.
No, I just think, and it's also, I mean, he's got the win equity. When we fall in love with all the data in the world, sometimes we can get lost. Like, is this person really worth this price? Is this, ending up how we want it to be at the end of the day? And wait, does this, I don't know. I mean, sorry, fumbling around. I just think the chef's cooking, and let's go.
Yeah, I see it 100%.
It's a fun lineup too. Like when you look at Scotty Scheffler being 11,200, like if you look at Scott's team in particular right now, he still has 8,100 for 3 spots. That's a really good start to a build.
So this brings back some memories here. So we've got Jesse chime in with Fade Scheffler at your own risk. So some of you may know I do the Fantasy Football Today DFS podcast, and we're doing an off-season series too. I just recorded an episode with somebody, but the point is the theme of that podcast throughout the year last year was Fade Cooper Cup at your own risk. And it's honestly, I feel like Scotty Scheffler, to the extent there is a Cooper Cup in golf this year, it's Scotty Scheffler. Like he's just like every single tournament, he's just coming out to the extent you can in golf. Every single tournament, he's coming out and just dominating. So, I mean, it's so hard to go wrong when you have him on your team.
I think just as a player too, like you see this after anytime anyone finally breaks through and gets their win, is they don't really keep their foot on the gas. They like change instructors, they change club manufacturers, they do all this stuff. Their life changes. Like he's just still kept the same baseline. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm just here to win golf tournaments and see you guys later.
And he keeps that throughout the tournament, hole to hole. Like he's just so chill and nonchalant. And I don't think it's an act. Like I think he's sort of trained himself to be like, it's just golf. I'm really good at it. So I'm going to hit the shot. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, the next shot will probably be pretty good.
Yeah. Love it.
Totally aligned. Not a lot to not like about Scotty Scheffler right now. I mean, the way he's playing seems like a can't go wrong pick there. All right, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to stick to my value theme here. I'm going to go with Siwoo Kim. Now, he's a guy we've been mentioning a few weeks. He's got a pretty solid all-around game. And getting him in the mid-7K range at 7,600. He's also someone who's done well here before. So, maybe not pristine, but, last timeout, he missed the cut, but he tied for 11th in 2020, and then T26 and T25 in 2016 and 2018. So he has had some good results. I think he's in some decent form. So I think I can get another good value pick here as my third pick.
Yeah, add Siwoo Kim to that list of like the Strackas and the Hoagies in that $7,000 range where I think they make a lot of sense in GPP contests.
Yeah, me too.
All right, I will then, I guess, take us with the next pick and move us along. I am going to take, let me double check his price tag. I am going to take Mark Leishman at 8,400. Wow. So with TPC River Highlands ranking inside the top 10 in terms of course predictability, I'm going to trust Leishman here. He won this event in 2012. He's provided 7 top 39 finishes during his other 9 chances at the venue. And we know his biggest detriment is usually his inaccuracy off the tee. But I think with this being a generally wide open property, there's the strategic nature of the die layout, and he's really good with all his iron proximities. Like if you take every 25-yard bucket from 100 to 200 yards, he ranks inside the top 26 in every single one of those stats. And he's also inside the top 10 in putting. Those two things together give me a guy that can hit the irons and get hot. And he's long enough off the tee where I think that there's a reason why he's found continuous success here.
Yeah. So, Brent Harris chimes in here. Spencer with team way back, as in way back when these guys were really good. No, but I think that's a really interesting GPP play because I'm assuming his ownership is pretty low.
It is. I will give you the number. It's 9%. It's not as low as necessarily some guys, but I mean, if we're looking at like this $8,000 range in particular, there's a lot of guys that are going to be higher than him.
Yeah. All right. We've got our 2 picks already. Looks like Keegan Bradley and Brendan Todd have both been nominated. So Keegan Bradley, obviously somewhat of a home game for him, and he's probably going to be pretty popular. Spencer, maybe you could chime in on his ownership. And then I actually like Brendan Todd. It's not a sexy play, but I think it's a solid play. I had another couple of guys in mind. I was hoping they'd get nominated because I would have just chimed in verbally with a second nomination, but I don't think we'll be able to get those guys with what we have left over. But I retain the right to do that with one of our 2 next picks. In other words, being the second nomination. Spencer, what is the ownership on Keegan Bradley looking like?
Keegan Bradley is 12.8%. Brendan Todd is 10.6%.
Okay. And where does Keegan's ownership rank among the field? Is that in the
11th.
top 15? Okay. Yeah. All right.
I don't have a problem with the plays though. I mean, I think both of them make sense if especially Bradley, he's in good form entering this event. There's a lot to like about him with it.
Yeah. And I do like Todd's form here. Like his recent form is good, but his form here over the last couple of years has been pretty good too. So I don't mind that play at all.
Yeah.
All right, so Spencer, it's already back to you. While we're waiting for your pick, Scotty, let's get to know you real quick. I'm just going off script here a little bit. Give me your favorite movie, and if you can't narrow it down to one, give me 2, and give me your top 3 cereals of all time. We did this on the first cut earlier. I gave my top 5 cash game cereals and my top 5 GPP cereals.
Oh man, I'm going some CTC, some Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That's
Solid.
Definitely in there. Oh my god, would just crush that as a kid.
Yeah, that's in my GPP lineup, just so you know. Seriously.
As an adult, Honey Bunches of Oats.
Yep, that's also in the GPP lineup. I guess that's more chalk than I thought. Interesting. Okay, give me one more cereal.
I'll go. Destroy the Roof of Your Mouth, Captain Crunch.
Oh, I knew you. Yeah, so literally on the first cut, like 4 hours ago, I was like, I don't like Captain Crunch because I actually don't like the taste, but I don't like what it does to the roof of your mouth. That's like an exact quote from 2 hours ago.
Really?
It's on my do not draft list, honestly.
What was your number 1? I gotta know.
Well, I kind of just did a 5 in general. My number 1 is going to be Lucky Charms. So my top 5.
No, Marshmallow. No, come on.
No, marshmallows. I don't like marshmallows unless they're hardened like they are in Lucky Charms. It's basically just like a sugar pill, essentially. Lucky Charms, Cocoa Puffs, Honey Bunches of Oats, Raisin Bran, Golden Grams. Golden Grams, super underrated, really good GPP play. My top 5 GPP plays: Golden Grams, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Honey Bunches of Oats, Cocoa Puffs, Cocoa Krispies. So it's really interesting roster construction, right? Because you have 2 Cocos in there. Good. And then my top 5 cash: Honey Nut Cheerios as opposed to regular Cheerios, Lucky Charms, Raisin Bran, Frosted Flakes, and Corn Flakes. That's my cash game line.
Cornflakes, curveball.
Yeah, like you say, I mean, we got to
Curious.
consider like the adult demographic and just some of the older school people that might be interested in making cereal lineups. So that's why I put cornflakes.
Yeah, I get it.
It's the Brendan Todd of cash games personnel.
Brendan Todd's very cornflake.
Very cornflakes.
Respect it. I respect it.
All right, so Spencer. Oh, you didn't give us the movie after Spencer's pick. Spencer, it's on you. Sorry for the delay.
Oh, go for it.
I'm going to go back to this old school approach that I seem to be taking right now, and I'm going to take Tommy Fleetwood at 9,200. My model really likes him this week. He's 7th on Pete Dye courses, 13th at total on strokes gained total on TPC courses, 16th when you take short courses under 7,200 yards. The weighted par 4 scoring is really good. I did a weighted birdie or better percentage, which essentially took birdie or betters gained at PI courses, birdies are better gained at short courses, and birdies are better gained at TPC courses. So it ran each one of those individually, and I combined them together. He's 15th there. And I mean, overall, most of the proximity numbers, like if you look specifically at the 150 to 175 range, you do run into some problems, but there's enough to like about him from a total driving sense and just like the overall makeup appeal on my model, at least, that I like him at 9,200.
Yeah, fair enough. I feel like I'm assuming Fleetwood's not going to catch a lot of ownership because he's in kind of a weird range to maybe get squeezed a little bit. Where's he at?
Yeah, so he's 8.3%. That puts him 26th overall. And he kind of just to your point that you're saying, like he is getting squeezed. Like if we run this from, let's say, Mark Leishman and up, he would be the second lowest owned player.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, we got a lot of cereal takes in here. Courtney, let's see. Dylan chiming in. Scotty had the funniest video I've ever seen. I don't know what is he referring to? Do you know, Scotty?
Not sure.
I do know what it is. I'll very quickly throw it up. I think it's the video that I was tagged in, the one where there's the Pornhub in the background.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. It was the idea was just like every bro on Mondays for golf Twitter, golf DFS, and it was like all the different windows open, and it's Spencer's spreadsheet, which is a must-have, and then watching like my guys the approach on Mondays, and then like just going through each one.
That's fantastic. I got to see that.
And I've seen the video, and it is fantastic.
Oh, that is great.
Thank you. Yeah,
Scotty,
that sounded pretty dark as I was describing it. Yeah.
Joel, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. So I have like 4 guys I'm deciding between, all in the right price range for me. So it gives me some leeway depending on when you guys steal one of them. I have someone else I still will feel good about. So the first one I'm going to go with is I'm going to go with a guy who has just been red hot. I think this course should make sense. Now, he doesn't have a great course history here, but the way I've been watching him play the last couple of weeks, I just want to back him. I just like the way he's playing, and it's Denny McCarthy. Denny McCarthy, we've seen, has been really consistent. I think what I really like about him is some of these really long courses are really going to hinder him because he just can't reach some of these holes. That won't be an issue for him here. And he's pretty dialed in with his wedges, which is what he's going to be hitting for most of the part of this course. So if he's finding fairways and making putts, I really think he'll compete to win the tournament.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Denny McCarthy, UVA product, went to Georgetown Prep from my neck of the woods in that Northern Virginia, Maryland area. All right. Scott, so you have 2 picks plus a favorite movie to give us.
The Last Waltz.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
You say you haven't?
The Last Waltz? No, I've actually not heard of it, but I'm not like a super big movie goer guy. So
it's actually, it might be more of a documentary, but it's about the band, which is awesome. Kind of this underappreciated band for years. And they said, we're done. I'm done touring. Like, this has been too hard. And they go, we're going to film our last concert. And we're going to call all our friends, see if they want to play it. It was on Thanksgiving, directed by Martin Scorsese. And it's just this interplay of like band interviews and telling stories mixed with like live performances of this concert that I think it went like 6 to 8 hours. And it's like the who's who of music. So it's like Bob Dylan, Muddy Waters, Neil Young, Van Morrison comes out just throwing 100 miles an hour. And it's a clinic. It's an absolute clinic in, movie making, documentary style, and just an amazing underrated band.
Ivan agrees.
Ivan knows.
Ivan gets it. But you know who doesn't get it? Brent Harris. Grape Nuts is underrated? Bro, nah. So no, that's actually totally untrue. Grape Nuts is rated properly. It's pretty gross. If you'd gone like Cracklin' Oat brand there, I think I would have been okay with it, but Grape Nuts is gross.
Let me get this
I would
straight.
like to quickly give a shout out to David Selly for a very under the radar, underrated cereal in the Special K Vanilla Almond. It's my go-to in my home, so I'm glad I got a look on the show.
Interesting. All right, I've never tried that.
Yeah.
Spencer, do you have a favorite cereal?
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
probably like Cocoa Krispies.
Nice. I like that. That's strong. All right, that's it. That's all you got. Is there a second place?
I like Captain Crunch also.
There it is.
Damn it.
I
shouldn't have asked.
You eat Grape Nuts, who treat the roof of your mouth fine, but you can't go Captain Crunch?
I don't eat Grape Nuts. Captain Crunch is gross. It's objectively gross. There's a model for that, and Spencer's going to build it. All right, where are we? Okay, Scotty, you got back-to-back picks.
I'm gonna go low again, and this is a dive, but John Hugh. Yeah, I can tell by your reactions. That's a great.
Wait, John who?
HUH.
Oh, huh. Oh, my bad. Okay, gotcha.
No, yeah,
right,
that's
right,
good.
right.
I probably messed that
All
up.
I like that pick.
Played. Yeah. 6,800. I feel like no one's going to be on him. He's been really good recently he's been good. His iron plays come around. I play him in Showdown a lot because he can just throw out some pretty low numbers every now and then. But I kind of like him here. He played well in Canada, which I don't know if you got. Is that a good course correlation? What do you guys feel?
I don't think it's a terrible one.
Thank you.
He does have back-to-back top 25s, T25, T12.
Yeah,
doing great ball striking. The putter has been a problem.
Yeah.
So that's we'll
he's accurate. He's accurate off the tee. He's decent around the greens, and if he can just make a cut at 6,800, we're looking good with all that. That lineup. Come on.
I don't mind that at all.
The $6,000 range in general is kind of a dumpster fire. So if you can find the spots that you do like, I think it makes complete sense to like strategically try to get aggressive on certain players. And Ha is coming into the week with 2 straight top 25s. Like that's better than pretty much anybody that you can say down in this range.
Hank Lebioda is 6,500. Don't be disrespectful to Hank, please. It's not a dumpster. It's a dumpster fire outside of Hank Lebioda is what you meant, I think.
You might have just jeopardized him getting back to you guys for the audience pick here if they were considering it.
Well, there's actually a 6K guy, like maybe a little better. But anyway, we can talk about that when it gets to us. Okay, Scott, you got one more?
Ooh, well, Fleetwood has been taken from me. That crushed. Man, I'm torn between two. I'm gonna go. I'll go Sanjay M, since he made everyone angry last week.
I like that play quite a bit.
Good all around. It's just consistent golfer. I could go either way on him, but I think that just adds to this stellar lineup for a first-time guest. This is insane.
I think it's a really good bounce back spot for Sung Jae. He was like 30% owned last week, and you're going to cut that in half or even more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, after last week's performance and to go along with the price hike, it feels like he has to go under owned this week. It's just the narrative of him is very much so not being played. So certainly has an upside with some good leverage for GPP.
Yeah.
All right, Joel. Speaking of upside, where we going?
So there's 3 guys I want for 2 spots. So I'm going to go with the one I think might get drafted, and I'm hoping one of the other 2 fall back. Now I'm going to start with Brian Harmon. The guy's got a great course history. This guy really likes this course. I usually love Brian Harmon. I play him a lot. I typically play him in scenarios where he's in the 7K range and he's a real value play. Here, I do feel like the price is a little high for him, but he has 3 top 10 finishes in his last 5 tries at this course. In 2018, T6, 2019, T8, and then in 2021, T5. So he definitely has something that he likes here. Certainly enough upside for the price.
Sure.
Yeah, I like it. I love the form he's exhibited out here the last 4 years. Other than the miscut, he's been amazing.
For sure.
All right, guys, I will make the next pick then. I'll actually mention a couple guys right now since I can only take one of them. And I'm going to go down into the $6,000 range. I know I just said it was a dumpster fire, and I do stand by that. But as I was just saying, like, you can pick and choose your spots if you think you can find an advantage. So Kramer Hickok came second place last year. He's somebody that you could consider. I agree with Sia. I like Hank Lebioda. He would probably be my second choice if you force me to pick somebody, but this is me going back to these old school plays, but I'm going to take Charlie Hoffman.
I knew you were doing that. That was literally the guy I was thinking of that I liked better than Hank Lebioda. I knew you were doing that. That's
pretty much where I'm at too. It's Hoffman 1, Lebioda 2. Hoffman has 4 top 41 finishes at this course over the last 5 years. There's a 3rd in 2017, a 15th in 2018, and a 35th at the RBC Canadian Open. If we've already said that this is some corollary course now, I think that this is some good fit for him.
Does Charlie Hoffman eat cereal? I feel like he doesn't.
That's a great question. What do we think he eats for breakfast? Or do you think he skips breakfast?
Something very suspect.
Like something off a bone.
Is it not Wheaties?
It's not Wheaties.
Okay.
he went to UNLV, so he was probably in strip clubs for breakfast.
Strip club sushi is probably what he's into.
Try the Parmigiana there. It's great.
All right, so we got nominations coming in. Wow, what is that? Okay, I was like a bot entered the chat, and I'm like, that is a weird way to nominate. Okay. So
we shouted out Pornhub, and all of a sudden now we have whatever that is.
Is that how that works?
No.
That's hilarious.
Right, you bring Scott into the chat here, and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, that's standard. This is why I'm not on a lot of podcasts.
That's hilarious. I'm trying to see if we have a second. We've had a lot of nominations in, but I don't see a second yet. So I'm waiting. We need more nominations, or I guess I could second any of these guys, but I'm not really in love with any of them. All right, David just brings the farm here with like 6 nominations. I don't even know if any of those is a second though for any of the nominations here. Yeah, none of those are a second. Let's see. All right, well, let's go with, is anybody nominated? No, David just keeps chiming in. Do we have a second on Joel Dahman or David Lipsky? Let's leave it at that. I'll go ahead and choose. I'll go with Joel Dahman. I don't love to chase last week's success, and I think Lipsky is a really interesting contrarian play. But I do like how dialed in Joel Dahman is, so I guess we can go with that. And then we've got one more. How much money do we have left, Joel? 7K?
You have 7K.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, so who do we have? 7K. So we got Knox and Reevy that have been nominated. I don't even know if they're 7K. I'm checking now. Let's see. I kind of like Stuart Sink here at 7K.
Reevy is 7,200, just to throw it out there, so you guys can't afford him.
Knox is available and affordable. So let's go with Knox, because Knox is actually a second on David's pick. So Long was in there, but let's go with Russell Knox to close out the team. All right. So that's what, anybody have thoughts on Russell Knox? I hadn't really considered playing him. It's not like he rates out super poorly for me, but not somebody I was going to include. Does anybody want to play Russell Knox this week?
My model always wants to play Russell Knox. I'm kind of at the point where I don't want to play Russell Knox anymore, but my model likes him fine. Like, that's not going to come as a shock to anybody, but I don't have a problem with it. He's been fine at this course. I know he's 6,900. I just always worry about what the actual upside is for him.
Yeah.
My thing with Knox is he always grades out better in like models than I think he performs. I would prefer him in cash than I would in a GPP.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. So Spencer, it's back to you for your last pick.
It is taking everything in my power right now not to take Brooks Koepka.
Ooh.
I just don't know if Brooks Koepka is going to actually play the tournament.
Is he allowed to?
Well, I mean, he hasn't officially hit a ball on live yet, which.
Oh, weird. Huh.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, how's
Technically, he could. I wouldn't do it because I think he could either. I think he's going to pull out of the tournament.
Yeah.
I would lean towards that also, and that's the problem that's coming into play right now. And I guess the one reason why I will not do it, if you look at my lineup in particular right now, Webb Simpson, Jason Day, Mark Leishman, Tommy Fleetwood, Charlie Hoffman, every one of those guys is sub 10% ownership. I don't think you necessarily need to get like super aggressive with it. I will take.
Oh, where did he go?
No way.
Did he just
No.
fall? Wow, the suspense is killing me. Shoot, I don't think I did that. I blocked that the bot that came in, but that was
amazing. I will take. God, you could not time that better.
Oh yeah, he just like completely went away there. Oh, there he is. Okay, he's back. Okay, what a cliffhanger! You said I will. You said I will take, and then you completely cut out. Oh, you're on mute now.
This is perfect.
Okay.
Mime it.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, well, I'll tell you what, for the sake of, because Joel, I doubt you're taking his pick. So, actually, I guess it's possible. You both have around 9K left, right?
You know what's funny? Actually, Scotty, you could probably go because you just don't have the same price range.
No.
You just have the same price range left. So, me and the same price range. I should probably wait.
Man, I am. All right, I'm taking. I'll take Mackenzie Hughes.
Oh, this is so great. David from Windmill. Spence is off to join.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh, that is so brilliant. Spencer, we had just such a great comment from David. Were you just contacted by Liv and did you give your commitment?
Well, first of all, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, for enough money, you never know.
That's true, right? I get it.
Well, I'll give a pick before this crashes again. I really want to give Brooks Koepka. I guess I'm not going to. This isn't necessarily much safer, but I will take Harold Varner the third.
All right. Nice. I think he's a guy that's going to get squeezed a little bit too, right?
He is.
Okay.
Not as much as like Brooks Koepka is going to, but Varner's kind of in that same mix of the Fleetwood range.
Gotcha.
I find that interesting. Obviously, it's a much different course, much different conditions. But in the same price range, your number one golfer last week was still left, and now he's not even on your radar for this week?
I mean, he is. I like him. I think that you could certainly consider him. And if you listen to Better Golf, there's other ways I'm going to play him. But I don't know. I like Harold Varner at this course. Like these club down venues, and Nick Bretwish figured this out. It wasn't me. Like he figured out at these club down venues, Varner always finds more success for whatever reason. And you wouldn't necessarily think it because he is long off the tee, but I don't know. I think there's a bunch of guys you can consider. Like I think Seamus Power is in play. I think Harold Varner is in play. I think you could consider Aaron Wise. Like there's a lot of players.
Yeah. So Aaron Wise was who I was referring to for those who didn't know. He was number one in Spencer's model last week. Someone who I was also considering this pick, but I'm going to go with the guy who, of all the guys in this range, Spencer didn't mention, and that's Davis Riley.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Yeah, Davis Riley he's been playing so well over an extended period of time. I think, his metrics looked good even last week, even though he didn't have the best result. But it wasn't terrible even, and a really tough course. I think put him back out of a major, maybe more standard or neutral conditions. I think we're going to see another good showing out of Riley this week.
Yeah, I love it. Scotty, any thoughts on Riley, a guy you're rostering this week?
He might be chalky for me. But I mean, he's due, he's been on fire. I mean, he checks all the boxes. If I had it in the budget, I'd probably pick him. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of budget, you got the honor of the last pick here. Who you got?
I'm going. It's between two of my favorites, CT and Hughes, but I think I'm going to go McKenzie because of he's just been consistent here. He's shown some great signs lately. I mean, not a great iron player. He's not going to wow you off the tee, but insane around the green and putting. And he's just shown great signs lately of just golfing the ball.
Yeah, I like that pick. I considered him earlier as one of my value picks. I think he's a good player.
So I have a pretty big emphasis on approach and putting here this week relative to other weeks. And Hughes, the last few tournaments, his approach game is like really come together. Again, like it looks to be a trend, although it's not long enough to really qualify as one. And we know how good he is with the putter. And like, again, for me, somebody who's sort of maxing out those two strokes gain metrics, it's a pretty good look for Mackenzie Hughes.
Yeah. Small greens. I don't know. Maybe that brings him back into the field more. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Well,
I like Hughes also, just to throw it out there.
Oh, thanks.
Scotty, welcome to the DraftCast. You had a great draft, but let's just take my word for it. Audience, let us know whose team do you think is the best. Drop it in the chat. Let us know whose team you think is going to win. We're going to drop it on Twitter as well. Before we move on from the draft, there's a few more things. While I review it, feel free to, one more time, hit the like button. Give us a follow. It does go a long way. One last segment here on the draft we still do, which was the audience's idea. It was a great idea. Who is the biggest snub or surprise that we saw did not get drafted this week? Spencer, why don't you kick us off?
It's probably the guy that I think is going to win the tournament, and that is Patrick Cantlay.
Yeah. How did he not get drafted? So, okay, just real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, but audience, that's really who I wanted you to go with instead of Sam Burns. And we have a comment about Cam Davis. That's probably going to be my guy. I'll get to that later. But Spencer, tell us about Patrick Cantlay. Why didn't you draft him? Because couldn't you have instead of Harold Varner?
No, not at that point. I mean, I could have built it a little bit differently. I would have had to have probably lost Fleetwood and Varner, and I could have, I don't know exactly what it would have taken. It would have taken Cantlay and whatever the end price would be there. But I mean, Cantlay graded as highly as anybody really ever has in my model from a statistical perspective. I ran 7 categories this week. I ran 8 categories this week. He's either first, second, or third in 7 of those. Like pretty much anything you want to see. He's second in weighted tee to green at short courses. He's first on the weighted from Bent plus POA. He's first on Pete Dye. He's first on short courses. He's third at TPC properties. He's a really good par 5 scorer. I know there's only 2. He's number 1 when it comes to weighted birdie or better percentage. I think he's a really good play. Like obviously right now my model has him as the highest projected owned player, and that doesn't shock me. And that's not the reason why I didn't play him, but it just came down that I just tried to make a little bit more balanced of a build, especially if I was going to put Charlie Hoffman in there. But I like Cantlay a lot this week.
Yeah. Jesse chimes in. He said, I said Cantlay. It just didn't get a second. I probably could have seconded that. I think that was when our first round of betting. So I kind of wanted to be hands off there, but yeah, I do like Cantlay quite a bit. I have him in my one and done for the first cut. So Scotty, how about you? Anybody not drafted that you thought was on everybody's radar?
I was surprised there was no Joaquin. I thought I thought people were going to go Neiman. Yeah, under the radar. He made the cut for me last week, so that helped. But did he? Yeah. But yeah, him, and then also Spieth, who I know he's won here, and he apparently can't putt, which I still can't wrap my head around. But yeah, those were the 2 that I thought for sure were going to get taken off the board. But I mean, I'd take any of these lineups. These are great. You guys know what you're doing. You kids. Yeah. Okay.
Well, the audience does with and Sia, but everybody else I'm not so sure about. Just kidding. Actually, these guys completely dominate. Joel, what about you?
For me, the biggest surprise for me is Rory. I mean, I think Rory is playing like maybe the best golf of his career. He's playing one of the best golfers in the world. He's pricey, and it's hard to make lineups work, but I love Rory's form right now. I think he can certainly win this week. And just a lower tier guy I'll mention. I want to make sure his name is mentioned on the show because I love the way he did get drafted. Never mind, just kidding. Just Rory. We'll stick with that.
Who was it?
I was going to say Joel Dahman, but he got drafted.
Okay.
Yeah, we scooped him up. I'll go with I'm not super in love with this play, but I think I'm going to play him in a lot of tournament lineups. Cam Davis is my guy at 7,500. I like him on shorter tracks. Like there was Brent Harris was in here and he said if we had Cam Davis instead of Keegan, we'd win this week or something. I'm not sure we need to replace Keegan with him necessarily, but I think Cam Davis was a really smart play this week. I like everything I'm seeing from him, so that's the guy I think maybe somebody should have drafted.
Yes,
I love it. Now we're not done yet. We still have our outright tickets and first round leaders for the week. We're going to start in the outright market for tonight. Spencer, why don't you kick us off? What do you like in the outright market?
I kind of have a big card this weekend. It's a lot of jumbled together pieces outside of Patrick Cantlay at 16-1, but Patrick Cantlay 16-1, Webb Simpson 80-1, Harold Varner III 65-1, Mark Leishman 66-1. That has dropped to 55-1 at locations. I'm going to be the sucker here. I'm taking Brooks Koepka at 48-1. I like his upside. Siwoo Kim 100-1. And just to throw it out there, just since I'm sure everybody realizes at this point, I'm betting Jason Day at 80-1.
Nice.
Now, just curious, does your model find 80-1 as a big value for Day, or do you just like him more?
No, my model likes him a lot this week.
Yeah.
He's 8th overall. He's 13th for upside. So he does have that negative trajectory that we're normally trying to avoid. But on an 80-1 golfer, it's a completely different thing than when you're taking a guy at like 25-1.
That makes sense for sure. All right, Scotty, how about you? Who you like in the outright market this week?
I'm I'm in Cali, so I don't have a bookie. Hit me up. But I kind of like Mito as an outright. I think being in the mix at the PGA and just being the, Twitter darling forever, I think people have kind of moved on in a lot of ways, but also his numbers are crazy. And I think him just playing the way he plays would be a good pick. And then Joaquin as well. I think.
Yeah. So both of those guys going off at 35-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that.
And
Yeah.
I'll follow it up because I'm on Mito as well at 35-1. I think I like him this week. I think he's due for a win, right? I think it's coming. He's been playing really well. I also like Davis Riley at 40-1 right behind him. There's just a lot of upside there. And my pick for the week, the guy who I think is actually going to win the tournament, who I'm going to put a real bet on this week, a sizable one, is Denny McCarthy at 65-1.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way he's been playing. I think this course should suit him better than what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. I think if he keeps the same form we've seen and sinks a couple putts, I think he will compete and win this tournament.
Nice. I like it.
All right. So
I only have 3 guys to get, but let me give David's out. So David's going to be writing an article for us at windailysports.com. I'm sure it'll come out tomorrow, but his guys are Keegan at 36, Harmon at 60, Webb Simpson at 66, Steele at 80, Todd at 80, Lahiri at 150, and which is Scotty's boy, of course, at 200-1. So that's good to know. Again, his article will come out with our ownership article, which I think is coming out tomorrow. I know Steven's on vacation, but I think he still might be publishing the ownership. And then Spencer, did your Tee to Green article come out already?
It will be out tonight.
Awesome. Okay, cool. windailysports.com. Check that out. Oh, so the 3, I'm just going to give 3 outrights. You guys know I like to live bet outrights in tournament. And so I'll save it. I like Riley as well at 40-1, Webb Simpson at 70-1, and then Cam Davis at 150-1. Those are the 3 I'm eyeing right now.
150. That's
I strongly considered that Cam Davis, and at 150, it probably doesn't make sense why he's not on the card, but he's on my first round leader card, and we can get to that in a second.
Yeah, me too. So that's great. The nice segue, professional segue from Spencer.
Exactly. Here we are, without further ado, where we make our real money, the first round leader market. Go ahead, Spencer, kick us off. Who do you like in the first round leader market?
So we'll start off with Cam Davis, 100-1 on DraftKings. Mark Leishman, that is going to be the shortest play I have at 50-1 on FanDuel. Charlie Hoffman, 180-1 on DraftKings. Harold Varner III, that's also 50-1 on FanDuel. Webb Simpson, 65-1 on DraftKings. Siwoo Kim, 80-1 on DraftKings. And we'll see on Brooks Koepka, but I'm going to try the first round leader on him also. If he can give me one of the 2, maybe he's the first round leader and he's kicked off the tour for the second round for all I know.
That'd be legendary.
that would be so Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, it's a bit on brand.
Scotty, how about you? Who do you like in the first round leader market?
I like Finau.
Mhm.
I think he could come out and put out a crazy number. Finau, I think, yeah.
Yeah, Finau's 40 to 1. What's weird is Finau's history here hasn't been great, but if you just look how he's playing, like his ball striking around the green, the putter has come around. Like this is a guy that could absolutely steal a round and like easily. I don't know why he hasn't been super successful here, but I think that's a really good number. It's actually a number I considered, but I didn't pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, don't quote me on this, but I think at TPC Scottsdale that year that he came second to, I believe, Webb Simpson, where he should have won that tournament. I think he entered that TPC property with really bad form on that course also. And then, he got a second place finish. So Finau's one of those boom or bust plays. And I think as a first round leader bet, you can kind of get that out of him.
Yeah.
I love it. For me, I have a few first round leader plays today. I'm going to start with Johnny Vegas at 100 to 1. I think there's just a value there. I think that's a little too low of a number for him. I'd rather I see him. I think he should have been more in the 60 to 70 to 1 range. So good value with him there. I also like Joel Dahman. You're getting him at 80 to 1 on DraftKings. I really like his form. I think he can give you a hot day for sure. And I like TPC Lee at 60 to 1. He tends to show up on the first round, especially. So 60 to 1 there. I probably would have liked to see a little longer odds, but I like him in the first round.
That's funny because I literally just wrote his name down. I have 5 names, but I was going to like squeeze him in because my 5th name was Charlie Hoffman at 180 to 1. So I usually like classify like a bonus bomb, which is like a way for me to get an extra pick in there because it's kind of unrealistic. So I was going to squeeze KH Lee in there. So I'm glad you put him in there. So this is unprecedented, but this is the first time. That's what unprecedented means for you lay people out there. This first time I have 3. Yeah, you're welcome, Scotty. This is the first time I have crossover with somebody, and it's with 3 of my 5 guys, and it's with Spencer. That's pretty uncommon if you consider this is a 156 field, like a person field, and like at least I would say 100 are like first round leader worthy if you want to speculate on somebody for a first round. The idea that we have 3 of our 5 that are actually the same is like pretty telling. So interesting. So I'll start with Davis Riley at 45 to 1. I'll go Brendan Todd at 80 to 1. I'll go Webb Simpson at 65 to 1. I should have done those in reverse order. Charlie Hoffman at 180 to 1. I'll just co-sign Joel's KH Lee at 60 to 1. So that's Davis Riley, Brendan Todd, Webb Simpson, Charlie Hoffman, TPC Lee. But the guy that's actually going to do it. This is crazy because he's 100 to 1. He's also crossing over with Spencer's pick. Sounds like everybody kind of likes him on this course. By the way, if you just put $1 on this guy, what's the math on that? 100. It's going to be $100. So imagine if you put like all your money on this guy, like every dollar you have, take it, steal it if you have to, because you're Robin Hood style, like give it back to the person you stole from or somebody who might need it more than the person you stole from. However you want to do it, like you make that decision, but steal everything you can. And put it, of course, on Cameron Davis, otherwise known as Cam Davis, at 100 to 1. That's your first round leader. Thursday night, we're all going to be celebrating that easy call. Cam Davis, 100 to 1. Let's go.
I'm actually just got my my mortgage guy on the line. I want to make sure I take out. I don't even have a mortgage, but I'm still going to take one out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, most people don't know you can do that. Yeah, if you don't have a mortgage, you can still take a first and second mortgage out of the mortgage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Known fact.
So that's a lock. I've never seen anything more of a sure thing. Make sure you get those bets in before they become negative odds, because after this gets published, those odds are going down. Obviously, we see it happen every time.
So, Joel, I fixed that. So what I did is I orchestrated this YouTube StreamYard session to be on a 90-second delay. It's the most I could go out. So you, at this point, have like 55 seconds to go in and put the bet in before all the bookmakers actually hear what actually transpired.
And so David's right. So David's suggesting that you bet responsibly. And for like most bets, yes, except for this one. This one you bet irresponsibly.
Yes.
Because it's a lock.
Yes. These are the bets that are so lockish, first round leaders, because it's such a guarantee that you actually want to actually tip the scales the other way and be excessively irresponsible. Everything else you want to bet responsibly. But this one, I mean, this is a lock of the year, just like last week and the week before that.
Right.
week before that. No.
That's a wrap for this week. It's going to be a fun tournament. So I'm looking forward to playing this week. I think we can build some good lineups. We gave you a lot of good information. Scotty, super grateful for having you on. You were a great guest. You had a great draft. We're super thankful to have you come in and post. Let us know whose team you think are going to win. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter. Follow us. Hit a like button. Am I missing anything else?
All right. Well, I got to ask Scotty just a couple questions. So where can we find you? Because we don't have your Twitter handle up there. So it's at what?
Oh, God, that's bad. Sorry. Let me check. I think it's at Holdridge_Scott.
I think that's right. And Scotty, do you do any content? I knew you mentioned a Monday show, but I wasn't sure if it was a show you're on. You said there's a Monday show you always watch, like a golf show or something.
I'm on Colbert. No.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. No, I'm a free agent, baby. Free agent.
Right, cool.
Just here and there, yeah.
Well, we like your vibe, so we'll have to bring you back. And you're hilarious on Twitter. If you guys don't already follow Scott, Scotty, you absolutely have to follow him. So
it's literally just like bots and the who's who of the golf Twitter world. So I got a good mix.
That's where you want to be, right, guys?
Yeah, just last waltz and Pornhub, guys. That's all this is.
That's all this is. At the end of the day,
yeah.
That's my grandfather used to tell me. All right, so sports, guys, sports. Everybody, 1, 2, 3 sports.